cosmic radiation and that kind of thing. And it'll make
from what?
From high energy radiation.
From what? Are you saying from chemical constituents?
Yeah, from
hydrogen, nitrogen, and proteins form?
No, it needn't have nitrogen or anything like that. But protein in the sense that there's a carbon backbone and other atoms that come off it. So a macromolecule. It needn't have nitrogen or even carbon.
Protein is a very complex molecule.
I agree.
It has a 3D structure.
Well, everything has a 3D structure, yes.
Yeah. This protein, to just be zapped into existence, that's a fairy tale.
So I didn't say that.
Where? You said proteins.
I said they were created. I didn't say they zapped from...
Where have we observed, in which lab, that this process takes place?
So we can interrogate the composition of a meteorite or an asteroid by firing lasers and seeing what is emitted back off it. And looking at the spectra that comes off, you can see what the chemical composition is of whatever it is that you're zapping.
It happened by
Can I finish? If you're asking a question...
I'm sorry. I do apologize.
I'm halfway through the explanation.
Yeah.
So when it comes back, you can see the chemical composition with the length of the bonds and what atom is connected to which atom. And what comes back is the spectra that you get from a protein. There are proteins in asteroids, therefore.
So you believe these proteins are formed by what?
I don't know. It is postulated that the composite materials, carbon, some phosphate, some nitrogen. No, we know. No, we know that.
Sorry?
You're saying really weird.
Observed
you're saying really bizarre things.
I'm saying.
Who cares if it's a belief?
That's your belief. That's the fairy tale. Were we able in our laboratories today to make something like that?
Yes, proteins. Yes, all of the time. I've made
from the very beginning.
Yes, we make tons of proteins.
From the very beginning.
If you're a diabetic, I need to make protein, insulin.
From what did you make protein?
Insulin. It's a protein.
What did you make it? If I give you the chemicals themselves, you're going to make proteins out of it, right?
I don't know what you're getting at.
If I gave you the chemicals,
yes.
Right. If I were to give you, isolate an atom, and gave you these atoms of hydrogen, or carbon, or oxygen, or nitrogen, whatever. I just gave you these chemicals.
Yes.
And you were able to make a protein?
Yes.
Where can I read about this?
I mean, you need scientific equipment. You need large laboratories. Are you implying that if you just gave me a big pyramid of carbon and a big pyramid of oxygen and a big pyramid of hydrogen?
Basic elements.
No, I couldn't do that. No, and that's not.
Why not?
That's not realistic.
Why not?
I don't know what. Even if I was to show that was true or not.
No.
I don't know what point you're making.
It's not about you can. The question is, can you?
Can I what?
Can we make from the very building blocks the elements? Proteins.
Eventually, yes.
Eventually can become a cauliflower, I said.
But it would start off with...
That's the belief.
It would start off with... It doesn't matter.
My friend, amino acids are very unstable. You know that, yes?
They're not unstable. How are they unstable? They're based on carbon, which has 4...
When you make amino acids, do they remain stable?
Yes. And we are amino acids, top to bottom.
When we make amino acids in our lab, do they remain stable?
Yes.
Have you seen the amino acids becoming proteins?
Yes.
Okay. So, next time, please, if you don't mind, when you have time to Google it, or do your research, bring back some information where we can see from the very building blocks of chemicals, we're able to make proteins.
You just changed the subject. So you're talking about amino acids being unstable.
Yes. From the very building blocks
what point are you making?
That we make chemicals, we make the bases, from the bases we made amino acids, from the amino acids we made peptides, polypeptides, proteins. I would like to see that. This is a myth.
What's a myth? That you can go from an amino acid to a protein?
Start from the building blocks and then give me the whole paper where the lab has done. I mean, starting from the building blocks, they're able to make proteins.
But the thing is, I know you don't genuinely want to know the answer to that question. Because this is basic molecular biology. My PhD was based entirely on this process, and it's really basic.
So you should be able to do it, right?
With lots of laboratory equipment, yes.
Yeah.
But I can take amino acids.
Has anyone done it? No. Why are you already... You're like this. You know what? I have a cell, and I'm going to clone it. I'm going to reproduce it. Look. The simple task for you is this. If nature, Mother Nature, which doesn't have any brains or consciousness, able to, from the bare elements itself, create life, you should be able to do it with your brains, with your PhDs. So go
you've massively changed subject. And,
No, I'm not
also,
changing-
and also I disagree.
This is my demand. Has anyone done that on planet Earth today so far?
I've answered the question already.
The answer is?
I've answered it already.
Which is, one more time, the answer is no.
Humans have not created life. No.
No, I didn't talk about life, I said proteins.
Humans have made proteins, yes.
From the elements, right? Yes. From scratching from the elements.
I think it's really basic. It's very simple. Really basic chemistry. It's a very long process, and you would never do it in practice. You would buy in.
Buy in what?
Tyrosine and lysine. You would buy those in.
What is tyrosine and lysine? Is
They're
that
amino acids. They're basic amino acids.
So, and what am I asking for?
You're asking for, can you go from basic elements?
You know what basic elements? You're a PhD holder. You should know the difference between basic elements and an amino acid.
I agree.
Right.
And I do.
I'm not going to give you a product to make another product. The basic elements are your chemical elements from the periodic table.
Yeah.
Use those to make proteins. Then talk.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's really easy.
Is it done?
Absolutely.
Where?
These are really... No one would ever do it in practice. It's like saying...
You say it's done. I would like to know where, and I would like to be corrected. I would like to have some information input.
Yeah.
Who's done it?
Go to
Where?
PubMed. I mean, the information's all there.
I didn't find it when I searched it one time. Maybe you can search and find it. Where they maybe you can come next time.
You probably search for make a protein from elements.
No. That's not how you search in PubMed. That's not how you search in Embase. That's not how you search.
Which would return no results, because no one would ever do that. You would be insane to do that.
My friend, you are insulting me of doing a Google research of this. As I said, I did an MSc at least, right? I should have done a PhD to talk to you. And then you should say, okay, now we're on the same level. So why is it necessary? I know how to do research, my friend.
Yes.
Just because I have not done a PhD doesn't mean I don't know how research
So are you saying
works.
that people can't make amino acids?
No, I'm saying the claim is we can make proteins. Right, good.
Mental.
Where can I find...
It's really basic. Go to PubMed. I'm not giving you the detail. You go and have it. Go and search for it.
The one who claims it should be able to produce the evidence.
If anyone here is a scientist, they will know what you're saying is so basic.
Why don't you go to PubMed and do it now?
Yeah. Anyway, what are the other falsifiable claims in the Quran?
Do it now, because when it comes to really
I don't think that-
substantiating your claims, you are saying you're putting it under pressure. Take your time, my friend.
I don't even know what you're asking me to search for.
I just told you. You need to provide evidence in a lab where, starting from the basic elements, we have come with proteins.
Right. And imagine I can't do this.
Because
okay?
and then, from then we can say proteins, the building blocks of life.
Imagine I can't do this, right? Imagine the technology does not exist to do that. That very basic reaction with carbon and nitrogen, right? That doesn't exist, and I was wrong, let's say. What would that, how does that help you?
What we're describing is a process of a fairy tale where the mother nature, which doesn't have a brain, doesn't have neurons, doesn't have synapses, doesn't have consciousness or self-awareness, is able to create this beautiful, complex, organized, harmonious universe like we are living in today. And yet...
Nature creates the sun. Man can't create the sun. Therefore the sun doesn't exist. That's what
you are happy to accept nature as your God. Because nature doesn't demand anything from you.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the case.
That's clearly the case.
You don't know me.
The reason why...
You don't know me. So
not you personally.
Yeah.
I apologize, not you personally. Many people, they resort to this belief in nature. It's because nature doesn't tell them to behave, be good, do this, do that, don't do this, do that.
That would be a very risky strategy, wouldn't it? If you thought that there's some truth in religion, but you said, actually, I really like eating pork and drinking alcohol, and therefore I'm going to pretend that I don't believe this, so that I can continue doing the things that I want to do. Knowing that there's a good chance that you could go to hell. I mean, that's a very risky strategy.
There is only two options. God exists, God doesn't exist. If God doesn't exist, nothing should exist. Why does something exist rather than nothing? If there is no God, there should be nothing whatsoever.
What's the next falsifiability test?
Look, my friend, the reason
also,
why...
The Quran, you changed the subject. I didn't even realize it.
I've given you two examples already.
Hold on a second. We started off with the falsifiability, and it's to do with scientific claims. That was very clever.
Right.
So, clay, blood, water.
Right. So clay, you have no evidence it wasn't from clay. The constituents of man was from clay, right? The Quran doesn't say just clay. It says quintessence.
Okay.
Quintessence. So something within this clay that was used to construct the first human being, which was lifeless. Then God breathed into it its soul and animated it into being alive.
What about blood?
Secondly,
What about blood?
the Quran doesn't say it came from blood.
It says it came from a drop of blood.
No, it doesn't.
Does it not?
The Quran says Allah created human beings, the first human beings from clay, the progeny from a nutfa.
A clot of blood.
No. I'll tell you what it says. Came from nutfa, which is like a drop. Then that nutfa was created into a substance that clings, substance
Mere clot of blood.
that can be, the Arabic word is alaqa. Alaqa in the Arabic language.
Why did you say this? You implied that I was wrong and I had to Google it. You know what I was referring to.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
And I'm correcting you. There is no stage in Quranic stages of creation where it came from congealed blood. The word for congealed blood is dam'un jamid. It's a congealed blood. Alaqa means several meanings. Primary meanings of them are what? Something that clings, something that hangs. So for example, when you have a leech that clings to the human skin, when it sucks the blood, it's called alaqa. Because it clings to it. When something is hanging, we call it mu'allaq.
Sorry, can you just explain?
I'm just telling you.
No, you're talking about leeches and other things.
No, I'm just telling you the process of the creation of human beings.
Yes, well, the Quran says that it comes from clay, blood, water.
It doesn't from clay.
Can you explain how those are factually correct?
My friend, as I said, from clay, the first human being, science has not come to a stage of development yet to understand the original recipe of the first human being.
Okay, so let's put that one aside. That may or may not be true.
Secondly, the progeny of Adam is from a drop, nutfa. Nutfa in the Arabic language is this drop, which when you empty a bucket, the very last drop that remains, this is the very minute part that remains. When you are dribbling with water from your hair.
No, I get it, yeah.
So this is describing what we call the sperm drop, because that's what the Quran described as something that was emitted from the man. And
so it's an analogy. It's
not an analogy.
It's not saying sperm, though, is it?
The Quran does say mani yumna.
Does that mean sperm?
Mani yumna means.
So it means drop.
No, the word here is nutfa. The Quran describes the nutfa is within this mani yumna. Look, if I were to describe it, write it down for you. Nutfa is the element within the spermatic fluid. The spermatic fluid not only has sperms, but it has many other things. We know from science it has what? Corpus glands fluids, prostate glands fluids, fluids from the vas deferens, from the ampulla.
Seminal vesicles is what you mean. The vas deferens doesn't produce fluid.
My friend, within the vas deferens
doesn't produce fluid. It's just the canal.
You have the semen. Yep. Is it just? Where does the Bowman's gland, the Cooper's glands, the prostate glands?
They're in women.
You don't know your biology, do you?
Move on.
Prostate gland in a woman.
Oh, you're talking about the prostate now? You're talking about the vas deferens.
Excuse me.
Make your point.
Why do you make a mockery of your PhD?
Yeah.
I just told you, these glands, Cooper's gland, they're not in a man. Shall I show it to you?
I really don't need to. It's not.
Because you're not quite.
I thought you were talking about the vas deferens.
No.
You're
clearly not familiar with the constituents of semen, are you?
Right.
How many percent of semen in a seminal fluid?
Say again.
Within the semen that's ejaculated, how many percent of sperms are there?
I don't know, something really small.
Very small.
1%.
What's the rest? Less than 5%. What's the rest?
Nutrients.
From where?
I don't know what point you're
That's
making.
what I'm telling you, where they're coming from.
From the prostate, from the seminal vesicles, not from the vas deferens. That's the point I'm making.
Vas deferens is the pipe, the canal that's going through, but I'm saying all the mixture that's coming through, right? This mixture is needed. So the Quran talks about the mixture as well as just talks about the nutfa, which is the sperm. The nutfa is also used for the female ovum in the Arabic language, the man's and the woman's. So the first is...
It doesn't say that the sperm comes from the bone, from the backbone.
One at a time. It doesn't. You're mistaking again.
What does it say?
You're mistaking again. We'll come to that point in a second. So the nutfa was created into something called alaqa. Alaqa, as I described, means something that hangs and clings and suspended. We know the embryo, after fertilization of the human embryo, the sperm in the ovum, around 6 days, it implants in the uterus, around 6 days. So it clings to it and creates some villi through which it clings. And then it suspends itself and hangs. And from it, throughout its pregnancy, it is suspended within the amniotic fluid, the whole baby through the umbilical cord. That's how constantly like this. So it starts from the 6th day. So before the 6th day, it was a drop-like structure, the sperm. It was a drop-like structure, 6th day implanted. So the Quran is describing the process of whole of human creation, because the Quran says that. خلقا من بعد خلق. Creation after creation. So from this alaqa, it became mudgha, a chewed-like substance, something that has the appearance of a chewed-like stuff. When you chew something, you can see that it leaves a teeth mark. When this particular alaqa, day 21...
This description is very long. And it's not,
no. Do you want to know? I will tell you.
No, I would never...
My friend.
I'm very specifically, I want to know one thing, okay?
My friend, can I finish this? Because it is very unfair when you make saying Quran is at least one process is wrong, and I'm describing all the processes are correct scientifically.
Hold on a second.
So do you admit it's scientifically accurate?
No, not at
then
all.
let me correct you then.
Not at all.
So let me correct you. Because you made a mistake there, I need to correct you.
You're saying that humans come from clay.
I just told you science is not in a stage to somehow say anything about it.
They don't come from clay.
The first man came from what?
And it said, are you talking about life in general?
No, I'm talking about the first man.
If you're willing to open it up to that level, your brains are going to fall out.
Sorry, you misunderstood. The first man, it says, بدأ خلق الإنسان من طين ثم جعل نسله من سلالة من ماء مهين. Allah says He began the creation of man from clay. Then He created his progeny. How do science know that is not true?
Anyway.
The creation, no. You made a statement, back it up with science. How do science know the creation of first man wasn't from the constituents, quintessence of what's there in the clay?
Constituents, do you mean the atoms, like as in elements,
No,
as in carbon and
I'm not saying anything.
nitrogen?
I'm not saying anything. The Quran says,
Life didn't exist.
سلالة من ماء سلالة من طين.
Life began in...
I'm not talking about life. You're making a logical fallacy. I am talking about the creation of man, the first man. The first man was created according to the Quran from the سلالة من طين, from an extraction, a purified extract of clay. Then his progeny.
I forgot that you didn't believe in evolution, so that's...
Who says I don't believe in evolution?
I thought you just said that.
When did I make a claim? I was challenging your assertion.
You weren't here.
No. I never said I don't believe in evolution or I believe in evolution. I was challenging the model people believe blindly. So you haven't even heard my stance on evolution.
Do you believe in evolution?
I'm not going to say anything. It's irrelevant to the discussion at right hand.
I'd love to know.
Maybe later, towards the end, you know to what my position is.
So you're unsure about whether evolution is true?
I'm very sure.
That it is?
No. Now, look who's changing the topic. We are discussing, you said...
If we're talking about the origin of man, and one party is not willing to say whether or not they believe in evolution, that's quite important. That will change the direction of the conversation.
Man, according to the Quran, has a beginning of creation. According to your evolutionary model, man didn't come from clay. It came from pre-existing life. Living forms, right? This is just an assumption. There is no evidence for it.
I'm just going to be silent because I can't repeat myself.
Neither can I.
So
I don't need to talk about your chromosome 2s and your this and that. We can talk about
so congealed blood. Man comes from congealed blood.
Mistaken again. The Quran doesn't say man comes from congealed blood. The Arabic word is alaqa. And we know the alaqa means like a leech. And guess what? The embryo at day 21 to 23 looks exactly like a leech, functions like a leech, acts like a leech.
A leech is just an amorphous blob.
Listen, I am the one telling you, so allow me to explain to you. The leech if you open up, how does the leech survive? And
so man comes from water, the last claim.
You see, when you ask me to describe all the processes,
you said the same things. You're repeating yourself.
No, you are not willing. You're being unfair.
You're using 500 words when 10 will do.
My friend, I am being very accurate in the description of what the Quran says. Yours is based on misreading of translations which are obviously not correct.
Okay, because man comes from water, is that a mistranslation?
Where does the Quran say man comes from water? The Quran says water is the constituents of all life.
Oh, it said that. I thought it said man came from water. So you're saying that it said water is a constituent of life.
The Quran describes the word ma to refer to the primordial water. It describes the water which refers to the human seminal secretion.
So this is what you're doing.
Are you not listening?
No, I'm not listening. Because what you're doing, what you're doing is simply this. You're taking something from the Quran. If it's not scientifically accurate, you then relegate that to analogy and say primordial water. The phrase is primordial soup, and it's a metaphor, and it's not a real thing. My friend, you're changing things to mean things to suit that this could be analogy or something
Let
else.
me help you what you misunderstood. When I mean by primordial, I mean the very origin. Life, the origin of life, the Quran says, is made from water. Every living thing is made from water.
Which is false.
Which living thing is not made from water?
Well, a virus doesn't need water, for example.
Virus is not even alive, is it?
Well, you know, by many people's definitions it is. It doesn't fulfill all of the criteria. But this is just an arbitrary thing that we've
It's not
decided.
arbitrary. You call it alive because it's not even alive. So what is a living thing that is not constituent in water?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that life didn't come from water.
You said it's false, so tell me, what living things that we know of is not rested on water?
I can't repeat myself more. I agree. Life as we know it requires water.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's what the Quran says.
No, well, what I've read.
وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. From water, God brought every living thing.
Yeah, which is false. That's not true.
What makes you say it's false?
It doesn't come from water. You know, I don't know. Let's use language accurately. Life didn't come from water.
Yeah. What does the Arabic word ja'ala mean?
I have absolutely no idea.
Exactly.
You have to tell me.
Then you're making it false with your ignorance of the Arabic language. Go to an Arabic professor who's not a Muslim and ask them, can it mean that life is
analogy? This is my point.
I don't know, an analogy. It's the language itself.
Saying things like it can mean this.
My friend, when the Quran says something in a text, in a language, we need to understand what it says. Is the language itself,
let's move on to the background.
Is the language itself has this meaning, you can't say it's false, it's you are the one making it false by your wishful thinking.
I'm just saying that the Quran can't make predictions because the interpretations are so fluid. And
interpretation is not fluid.
Well, it is.
The Quran is very precise.
Let's say that we discovered that life actually came from water, and it came from some kind of cosmic radiation that made hydrogen and carbon fission in a particular way to create lots of atoms. Would you then still say, would you hold this definition of what you're using, how you describe it?
You're now speculating about, what if we find life? What if, look, as far as the facts of science are, undeniable facts, we know wherever we want to see the evidence of life, we ask this question: was there any source of water? We know our life requires water. So moving on, from nutfa to alaqa to mudgha. So, okay, you want to fast forward? So now you have to admit, because you want to fast forward, that there is no scientific mistake in that process. Let's move on. Because if you say there's a scientific mistake, I'm going to carry on with the explanation. Now, backward. The Quran says in Surah Tariq, let man see how man is created. It's created from a gushing, self-emitting fluid. And he is brought forth, or he comes out from in between the area of the ribs and backward. And God is able to bring him back together, back again. So what's wrong with that?
Between the ribs and the backward.
Who comes from the ribs and the backward?
Sorry?
Who comes from the ribs and the backward?
Who comes from the ribs and the backward?
Between the area. between the, you see how science, as you know from your studies in biology, when you describe a hollow cylinder, we describe something anterior to, something posterior to, because that's it's a hollow cylinder. The Quran describes the anterior parts, which is the ribs, the strong parts, the elements there, and the backbone, the back parts. Within this element, something comes out. Who comes out? The Quran says it's the man. Let man think what he's been created from. So the man comes out from this area. We know during the, you've observed it, have you ever seen a delivery? The babies is actually in between these two areas. And it comes out from these two areas.
So is it not referring to sperm comes from the backbone?
It doesn't say sperm, does it?
Yeah. What does it say? What
I just told you, it tells you.
What noun does it use?
It doesn't have a noun, it has a verb. يخرج. يخرج من بين الصلب. No. The verb goes to the noun فلينظر الإنسان, man. Man comes out. Because if you look at it
They're talking about the birth canal. Is that what you're interpreting?
No.
That's what pregnant.
No, this talks about the man coming out from these two areas. An area which guards the human being, guards the baby. God is able to bring, you see, this whole chapter is about how God protects and preserves and guards the human being. Surah 96. Yeah. This is 1976, sorry. Surah Al-Fatah. No? 76, isn't it? Okay, it is 86, not 96, yeah? So here. Surah 86, by the heaven and the Tara, and what will make you a Tara? This is the star of piercing brightness. There is no
Drop emitted from between the back. It says a drop emitted from it. It's not only pregnancy.
This is a problem of people relying on translations. Translations are people's approximation of their understanding of the Arabic language.
Subjective, I agree.
What I'm saying, I'll show you the basis of this interpretation. There is no human being but has a protector over him. So this is what how God is protecting human beings from the very inception to the delivery, even after. So let man see from what he's created. Okay? Number one, he's created from a water gushing forth, self-emitting. The words that I'm using this way, is a description of a water that is self-propelled, and we know sperms are self-propelling. Fascinating. Number one example. Secondly, another argument. Proceeding from between the back and the rib. This proceeding, many people thought is referring to the immediate one just before, referring to the sperm. But this is another argument. Why? If you carry it on, then they will see he will have no power, right?
Laat me net echt stoppen. Hij zei, het is ook intentie om voor mij op te offeren. Ik heb helemaal geen mensen in het bloed. Toen was hij gered. Hij was gered.
Seems to don't
Wat is
No, it's this side. I'm also trying to find the right next page, right? Yo, maar only
we moeten wachten tot God iets Dus wij kunnen niet zelf iets gaan geven, maar we kunnen proberen.
Listen. Yeah. Very, Allah is able to bring him back. Who is this him referring to? So immediately after that, the next verse is him. Now in the Arabic language, normally the pronoun refers to the immediate noun. In any languages, right? Okay, I saw John. He went to the shop. He refers to John. the pronoun refers to John. So Arabic language, normally, the pronoun refers to the immediate noun. Here, the immediate one, obviously there's no noun, it's a verb which has a hidden pronoun, he. But what we're saying is, this one refers to a noun earlier.
An earlier verse.
Which is this one, man.
And how did you know
man. Because that's the only interpretation you can have. And rest
Well, it could mean that. It could be 7.
No, the whole surah, in fact...
Why isn't it 7? How do you know it's 6?
I'm saying he's able to...
You know it's not 7 because it's wrong.
Okay. Verily, he's able to bring him back. Who is him?
I've absolutely no idea. But if you're talking about pronouns, they refer to the thing that just came before. If you're deciding that 7 is not what it's been referred to,
I'm just telling you, my friend.
The reason you've done that is because it's wrong.
No, I'm saying...
Let's make it 6 then.
Hello, I'm saying this particular one, last one. Yeah. Verily, Allah is able to bring him back to life.
You don't need to repeat it. I understand the problem.
Who is this him?
But I'm saying, how do you know it's not 7? You've decided it's 6. Okay, it's referring to 6. What's the process to decide that?
Yes, context.
Yes.
The whole context tells you. Context.
Because if you interpret it to be 7, it's wrong.
No, it's not wrong.
Well, it is wrong.
No, whole context tells you. Look, you understand the language from the context. The whole surah only refers to man again and again, even though the noun was much earlier. Every time in the Quran, when the verb yakhruju is used, the verb yakhruju is always referred to man. Everywhere in the Quran. So we know from the immediate context and the broader context, it refers to man. So linguistically, the interpretation that I'm giving you is sound. You cannot bring a linguist to disagree with me. Try it.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay,
all the best.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
What was your name?
My name's David.
David, nice talking to you. No offense, right?
Sorry?
No offense.
Oh, I'd never be offended. No, offense doesn't serve any purpose. So yeah, no offense, of course. All the best.